We're running a little bit behind, so we can have a slightly shortened Q&A, so I'm just going to dive right in and we'll start taking your questions. So the question was about the development of the script and I guess how that led to the casting.
So the guy you see there playing Scruff, the main villain of the piece, he's an actual gangster who's reformed himself, become an actor. And I worked very closely with him. He was a consultant on the film. And I workshopped with him very closely to get not only the action exactly as it would happen on these heists, which he's done before, but also just to get the language absolutely right. And also with the entire cast, to all come from the background to understand exactly this world. I did an extensive workshop process with them to get it absolutely authentic and working.
I have a question. Sure. I think it's an excellent film. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep.
I'm wondering, what did you feel necessary to add that ending? I was a little disappointed about the ending. I thought the part where you're getting over the money and just looking at it and you don't know what the seed's going to make, you're going to keep your friend die and take the money. I thought that was a great ending. But now here, just to be very realistic, I don't know what
So the question's about the ending of the film and why you chose to end it that way.
I think for South African audiences, it was very important that I resolved it in that way. You know, there's a huge dilemma that the police face in South Africa. They are very underpaid and they put their lives on the line every day of their lives. And the moral dilemma they face is, what do they do every day? Are they going to be good cops, or you know, are they going to take the money really? And I sincerely believe that they really want, you know, South African police want to be great police, and they want to protect and serve, and they want to do the right thing, but the temptations are just overwhelming. And that's really what I wanted to explore with this film. And I just felt that it was an important message for me to show that the consequences for him was too great to take that money, the change that he was going to have to undergo morally in himself, and he couldn't even look his partner again in the face if he didn't take that money back and somehow redeem himself through what he's been through.
So the question is how long it took Donovan to shoot the film.
Yeah, highly pressurized. I shot it in 24 days, 4 weeks.
Wow. Oh my God.
Sure, one more. Yep. Yep,
I'm curious why there are no members of the cast here for this world premiere.
It's hard.
The questions, I guess, involves why there are no cast present.
All the lead cast, unfortunately, were working at the time, and they've all got roles that they're busy performing in South Africa.
Sure, up on the right.
Maybe this is a rude question. I don't mean it to be rude, but all the actors except for one are white, but why is the director not black?
I guess the question just involves casting and...
I probably should have recast myself, you're right. But you know, what's so amazing about South Africa is that there's so many cultures come together to create everything in South Africa. We have 11 official languages, which means 11 tribes. And everything we do is an amalgamation of everybody's influences. And that's what's so interesting about South African film. I come in with my sensibility, they come in with their sensibility. And we create kind of unique things that hopefully appeal across the board in South Africa. And so I don't think we should apologize for all coming together.
What's the primary language used in the film?
Actually about 7 or 8 languages on display there. The main languages are Tsotsi Taal, which is a hybrid of Afrikaans and English and Zulu and Sotho and Tswana and Venda and Shona and Swazi. And each of the characters have their own spin on the language. And that's how it is in South Africa, because we have 11 official languages. Everybody just does their own slight spin on it. And so it's absolutely as they would speak, but there's 7 or 8 languages there, and that's how we do things in South Africa.
It was beautifully shot and edited. It was gorgeous and really unique. Can you talk more about your vision on how you want it to look and how that relates to the story?
So the question's regarding Donovan's vision and sort of the aesthetics of the film.
Yeah, I guess stylistically I always want to do something interesting with the camera to make it as entertaining as possible, especially if I'm going to do a genre film. I want to do something slightly different. And I always try and ask the question on how I can use the camera to enhance whatever it is that you're looking at. And you know, you take some risks, sometimes they pay off, sometimes they don't pay off. And just, you know, trying to use the camera as a character in the film, just to add excitement and value.
As you said, you had someone to advise you that had already had that kind of experience.
Right.
But they seem to make many mistakes. Is that, you know, is that how it happens, or usually they're a bit more professional?
The question's about the professionality of the gangsters.
No, I think they were probably more professional in this movie than they are in real life. You know, what's so great about that heist is how ad hoc it is, you know, and how, you know, how basic it is, and that's how things happen. It's very opportunistic. More often than not, these heists go terribly wrong for these crews, and they mostly get killed doing them. And you know, this is the desperate state in South Africa. They're prepared to take these incredible risks, and more often than not, it goes very wrong.
How long did it take you to write the script?
The question involves how long it took Donovan to write the script.
You know, it's very hard to say because it's a very on and off process, and because it was workshopped, it went through many incantations. So it probably took me, you know, 3 to 6 months to research and write the first draft. And then as I met the cast members one by one, I went back into another process, and then we all got together to go through yet another process. So all in all, it probably took about a year.
Yeah, up on the far right there.
Can you tell us something about the locations in which you shot? I'm assuming that the township was not Soweto, that perhaps there was some other part of South Africa. Can you tell us, where did you shoot those scenes? Was it Soweto or was it someplace else?
So the question's about the locations featured in the film.
Yeah, all the township locations are in fact Soweto. Soweto is the biggest. It's the biggest city in South Africa. There's, I think, 4 million people living in Soweto. It's really huge, and so it's got many different places to shoot. And that warehouse is, in fact, it's one of the landmarks in Soweto. It's the abandoned power station in the middle of Soweto. It's very well known. And the rest was sort of Joburg city centre was where we shot the rest of the stuff.
So the casting is so spot on. It's there. You just see like it's like perfect work. How much of it was based on you have the script and you search the actor, and how much versus when the actor came in, you said, wow, this guy's got such a great personality, let's change it. How much was it?
So the question is about the casting of the film.
Yeah, that's a very good question. What I always try and do is a bit of both. I will write a certain character, but once that actor comes in, they've got to earn it, and I'll do whatever it takes for them to earn it. And I don't want to ruin the film and what I've written, but I will change it to suit them, and we'll workshop together to really see what we can find together to make it work.
Yeah, if I'm making a genre film, is that, I mean, you worry a little about glamorizing a lot of violence?
The question is, in making the sort of genre heist movie, were you worried about the glamorizing some of the violence?
You know, it's a great question. It's such a debate that we'll always have. Exactly, you know, what role does these movies play, either in encouraging violence or not encouraging violence? You know, even if you show them all dying in the end, are you actually glamorizing it or not glamorizing it? And I'm not sure I know the answer to that question. I just want to be sure that at the end of the film, at least I've made the right moral choices for the universe that I've created. Oh, they absolutely love it. And when I play it for a local audience, they go absolutely mad for it. Yeah. They really identify. Yep.
Can you tell me about the casting of your top two characters?
The question's about the casting of the two main characters, the police, I assume?
We actually went through a very interesting process casting the lead for this film. I did a reality show called Class Act, which is like Pop Idol, but for actors. We found this guy on the streets of Durban. He was an out-of-work actor, and he entered the show with thousands of other actors, and 13 weeks later the audience had voted for him as their winner. And his prize was actually this movie that I then wrote and directed for him. And that was 2 years ago. It took us 2 years to write the script, raise the money, and get it all together. And so he's a new star from South Africa, but he has this big following thanks to the TV show. And then his partner is played by Presley Chweneyagae, who is the lead actor from Tsotsi, which is a film that won the Audience Award here at Toronto a number of years ago. So he's the experience, and the other guy's the new guy. Yeah.
I have a question actually, Donovan, about the action scenes were pretty incredibly well done. Just being that you made an indie film on a small budget, I was wondering how you got the most out of that budget to create such an action-packed film.
It's very, very tight. But to be very careful about what actual stunts and action bits that we did there. For a long time I was told that I couldn't crash a car, and I couldn't shoot a gun. Those are the two things I couldn't do, you know. And so if I shot a gun, I'd always have to cut away to someone's reaction. And obviously that wasn't going to work. So we had to count the bullets we were going to shoot, because each bullet was going to cost us sort of 20 rand, or blank that they shot. So we said, well, how many blanks? Okay, we can shoot 10 blanks, that's 200 rand. You know, we really had to go through it like that properly. And I was told I couldn't crash the car, but I could just do one take, and whatever happened, happened. I just had to live with it, you know. But we went through it, and we had an amazing crew that really dedicated themselves to it, and stunt crew, which did amazing work and really made it look like it wasn't as low budget as it was.
That's the question, or what your influences are as a director.
Yeah, I'm sure the more astute of you that know this kind of genre see a lot of the sort of nods to many different movies. Obviously the nod to Reservoir Dogs, which is a big influence. There's a nod to a couple of Coen brothers movies as well, which was a big influence here. There's a movie Brick, which I don't know if you know. There's a couple of influences there as well. Darren Aronofsky's movies are also a big influence for me. You know, it's great to go in there and sort of reference those movies, and so that you can see them. Tarantino as well, of course. You know, it's fun to kind of reference it, but then do your own sort of spin on it.
I'm being told we have to clear the theater, so we have time for just one more question. Yes, up on the left.
This one isn't actually a question. I just want to say thanks for making an awesome movie. It was really good.
And on that note, great thanks to Donovan Marsh.